It's like going on now. What? A second ago? What the fuck? What is that? I haven't heard it like that yet. What is that? That's so scary. It sounds like someone screaming. Then it sounds like a bunch of like Indians whooping in the distance. What is that?
Hello, everyone. This is High Priestess Jamila. And so someone requested that I look into the screaming in the sky that is being heard in Gary, Texas. Is it Gary, Texas? Bryan, Texas. Sorry about that. Bryan, Texas. Okay. And so I am going to um I'm going to put in a clip of the screaming, and then I'm going to go into what I found out during my spiritual investigation. Okay, so as you guys can see, there's clearly some sort of amplified screaming woman. Now, the people in the video are saying that it sounds like a screaming banshee. Well, I did find out that that is in fact exactly what that is. But let's go through the reading, and then I'm going to get into the cards that I threw. So, first of all, I did ask spirits, was it authentic? Was it an authentic supernatural event that is happening? And they actually did answer yes. Okay, and it's definitely a female origin. So this is definitely a feminine energy. The moon card came up, the nine of chalices, the empress reversed, the 10 of wands reversed, and then the sun card. I'm sorry, the 10 of wands upright, and then the sun card upright. So that actually answered a lot of the question as far as to what is going on, because somebody definitely did conjure a screaming banshee. It's not uncommon for people to conjure demonic forces. It's not uncommon for people to do this, but let's get into the rest of the question. So after I confirm that it is actually a real, authentic, supernatural happening, I asked, well, why, or where did it come from? Where is it coming from? And what I got was the Six of Chalices reversed, the Nine of Swords upright, the Six of Pentacles upright, the Nine of Wands in the reverse position, and then the Death card comes up. So this has a little bit to do with heartbreak. Um, there's a lot of myth and a lot of mythical creatures or mythical beings that we deem them as being just myths. Okay, so I'm going to get into the background of what a screaming banshee is. So this is something that has happened in the recent to distant past. Related to that, it has something to do with an extremely unhappy event, where either heartache or heartbreak happened. It seems like it's a mixture, but obviously what it is that from what I could see from the cards, that the screaming banshee did come from someone conjuring it. Now, let's get into what a screaming banshee is. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, a banshee, modern Irish being Sibansi, from Old Irish pronounced Bantide or something, woman of the fairy mound or fairy woman, is a female spirit in Irish mythology who heralds the death of a family member, usually by wailing, shrieking, or keening. Her name is connected to the Mythologically important tumuli or mounds that dot the Irish countryside, which are known as side in Old Irish. Sometimes she has long streaming hair and wears a gray cloak over a green dress, and her eyes are red from continual weeping. She may be dressed in white with red hair and a ghastly complexion. According to a first-hand account by Anne Lady Fanshawe in her memoirs, um, this comes from Lady Wilde in Ancient Legends of Ireland, provides another. The size of the banshee is another physical feature that differs between regional accounts, though some accounts of her standing unnaturally tall are recorded. The majority of tales that describe her height state the banshee's stature as short, anywhere between 1 foot and 4 feet. Her exceptional shortness often goes alongside the description of her as an old woman, though it may also be intended to emphasize her state as a fairy creature. Sometimes the banshee assumes the form of some sweet singing virgin of the family who died young and has been given the mission by the invisible powers to become the harbinger of coming doom to her mortal kindred. Or she may be seen at night as a shrouded woman, crouched beneath the trees, lamenting with veiled face, or flying past in the moonlight, crying bitterly. The cry of this spirit is mournful beyond all other sounds on earth and betokens certain death to some members of the family whenever it is heard in the silence of the night. Okay. So that can actually sound very scary because you're thinking right now, does this mean that one of my family members is going to die? Not necessarily. I think that this is one of those spiritual anomalies that are of a personal nature that you're able to see here. It's almost like you're witnessing something. Now, I believe that this is not just a personal thing to one person, but I do believe that the veil has been lifted. And right now, we're experiencing a lot of death in this country. So it would make sense for us to be experiencing these particular spiritual supernatural occurrences. Okay. um and just to let you guys know, I know that there's supposed to be some other sort of explanation for this, but that explanation is actually not the truth. um I trust my spirits, and my spirits have confirmed for me that this is an authentic spiritual occurrence. Sometimes I believe that whatever the explanation of it was merely to cover it up. This is to not create panic. Now, what I do want to tell you guys is that it may have something to do with the area of Bryan, Texas, or maybe even the history. Okay, that could be an explanation as well. Um, However, Spirit keeps telling me that it was something that was brought back, something that was conjured back from the dead. And when I asked why, or, why would somebody do this, or what was it, is what I believe that I asked spirits. The Two of Swords came up reversed, the Four of Pentacles upright, the Devil card upright, and then the Novice of Swords. So this is actually the spirit of a screaming banshee, but it also has to do with the sacred divine feminine. I do believe that it has something to do with heartbreak or either relationships or something to do with love. So I'll read those cards in a minute. I feel that it was conjured so that another person could hold on to somebody else, because this particular entity could possibly be used for certain purposes as far as spiritually. So I'm going to do some research really quickly to see if there's any record of that. Okay, so I'm looking at this right here. And the powers of a banshee is premonitions. Banshees possess the power to experience premonitions that allow them to sense a person's death, which usually allow them to discern how a person dies, where they die, or what will cause the death in the first place. Okay. Not a whole lot as far as with paranormal research, but I'm pretty much getting the same thing. Well, here's something more interesting. Banshees are spirits who are messengers of the underworld. So they are warning. That's a warning, is what I feel that primarily it is, even though I do feel that this spirit has been conjured, or even may even exist sort of as a phantasm. Okay. That is coming out of heartbreak, unhappiness, depression, too many people being in a crazy place at the same time, because like crazy stuff is going to happen, especially with us experiencing things like the coronavirus. And then also, I feel like the Banshee is definitely warning the world about something. Now, they are also known as an omen of death when they appear to a person of full Irish descent. However, they are also powerful go-betweens for contacting spirits. They are highly volatile spirits, meaning you never know when they'll be in a good or bad mood. But you will not find any entity that can carry messages between you and the deceased faster and more accurately than a banshee. They are unpredictable but loyal and are always quick and finely tuned to the unique spiritual energies of the supernatural world. They will give you precise and detailed messages from your ancestors, spirit guides, and spirits in your spirit family. They usually manifest in apparition form and can sometimes be accompanied by a high-pitched sound or a fog of white mist. Speaking of which, I will try to insert one single white cloud that was pictured in the video, in one of the videos, which kind of reminds me of that. So, associations can be used to create a closer connection with the entity by recognizing their associations with the earth and universe. You can use any combination of these tools to create treats, rituals, and bonding exercises. Okay, so obviously there are people that are connecting with the Banshee. As a spiritual practitioner and a witch, I have never conjured this particular entity, but I feel as though it's almost like when somebody has like a war cry or something. Um, Getting back to the reading, I believe what I asked for was advice or either outcome. The Ten of Swords came up reversed, the Emperor reversed. Time to let go of toxic masculinity. Where this came from originally and why why I can see that this entity has materialized in Texas is because of some sort of suffering. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about how when people hurt people, when it comes to love, and when they go to extremes to be cruel, sometimes the energies are the reaction of someone that has been hurting could be very volatile. Okay. Um, so I feel as though, especially with the Emperor coming up, it does represent possible injustices, but definitely cycles that keep repeating that need to be broken in general. Um, Also, healing energy that is needed because the elemental of chalices comes up in the upright position, and then the elemental of swords comes up in the upright position. So, this is representing communication as well as change. The swords is representing the winds of change. Okay. Also, I got many spirit guides that came up, all of them related to change. Okay. All of them having some sort of relation to change and then quick change. Okay. And then the lovers comes up in the upright position. So, again, this has to do with communication. Okay. On some level. Now, also the, judgment card comes up. And the way that I took the judgment card was that I took the judgment card as either individually or either as a collective. I feel like in general, people could use a past life, a better level of understanding when it comes to past lives versus just walking in a past life situation and not even understanding. That's one aspect. Also, I feel like the judgment card does represent, um, actually thinking about your actions before you do them and taking into consideration, what you're doing. Now, I also asked, was this entity conjured? And the answer was yes. But I don't feel like it was conjured purposely. And see, this is where you get people that don't know their power and they can sort of create things. So I feel like I can see definitely female energy that has not really explored their spiritual side somewhere in that area, wherever it is coming from. Okay, over there in that area that you guys are in Bryan, Texas. Okay. Um, so the Hermit is in the reverse position. So the Hermit in the reverse position, it almost says you're doing something spiritual, but you're not being properly guided. So it could be baby witches, possibility. Two of Pentacles is in the reverse position. Possible up and down, you know what I'm saying? That can represent energies that need to be balanced. And then Eight of Pentacles and then Three of Pentacles in the reverse position. Now, the last cards that I threw, and I completely and totally forget the question that I asked. I'm so sorry. But the Eight of Wands comes up, the Seven of Wands, the Novice of Wands is reversed. The Five of Pentacles is reversed. The Hierophant. I believe what I asked was who or what or why conjured this. And so again, it's definitely spiritual energy being used, but it's being misdirected. Also the Initiate, which is the Queen of Pentacles, comes up. And then Eight of Chalices upright, the Ten of Pentacles reversed, and then the Two of Cups. Oh, that's what it was. I believe that I asked why. Why was it conjured for the purpose that it was conjured for? Because it was obviously conjured. What I feel is that it was conjured possibly because there was a lover that was cheating with someone close, possibly even someone in the family. And this had to have been by somebody that had access to that. So I feel like whoever that was close by is obviously has got to be doing some kind of spiritual work, and definitely can see two other energies with it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be, but I'm seeing more than one person that conjured that banshee, and I believe it was conjured to hurt men. Let's put it like that. It was conjured to hurt a man, because that's why the sun comes up, the empress comes up reversed, the ten of wands comes up upright, and then the sun card is upright. So I believe that it was conjured by a woman. The moon is on one side, the sun is on the other side. It was conjured by a woman to maybe put a hex on a man of some, is what I am getting. So just to close this out, um, what I was going to say is that there are a lot of certain entities that can be conjured into this world. And sometimes I believe that there are witches that are at like the highest level of government. And then I also think that, witches can go all the way down to your average grocery store worker. So, being that we live in a world where these things are not only being conjured, but they are also being witnessed by others, which is why there have been so many people that have been witnessing this. Why it is being covered up, I don't know. I'm not sure why it's being covered up, because they're trying to come up with some kind of explanation for it. But I've confirmed that it is a real supernatural happening, and that it is in fact um, a banshee. So what I will tell you guys is that there's not too much that you should have to fear from this, because to be honest with you, typically the entities that are being invoked or conjured, they end up laying, or going back and the responsibility ends up on the conjurer. Now, if somebody is directing this energy towards you, again, this energy does represent of what I was talking about, with as far as the divine feminine, and what is happening with the oppression of the divine feminine spirit. um it's going to depend on if you are a male or a female. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. um the only people that probably would have to be concerned about a screaming banshee is probably men, because it's going to be a female that may conjure something like this, either out of her pain or her frustration. I think that one of the things that, if you continue to hear the screaming in your ear, you'll definitely want to possibly see a spiritualist for a cleanse. Otherwise, because I don't know, I don't believe that people are still hearing that sound. It's been well over a week since people have been putting up videos about it. So I'll have to confirm and verify about, whether or not, um, it's still happening. My assumption is that it's not. But if you are anybody that is hearing this screaming as long as it's not in your ear, as long as you're hearing it from a distance, you're okay. And then also making sure that you guys put up your protection. I do think that during this time, depending on your location, it's probably a good idea to um, salt around the house, some kind of protection around your premises. In particular, if you are in an apartment, you'll really want to have things set up as far as with protection. But anyway, guys, that's it. I had fun doing this investigation. I like having little projects like this to do. I am a firm believer in the spirit realm. And it feels good that we were able to confirm that this was actually a supernatural phenomenon. So, if you guys need to reach me for readings, past life, current, money, love, health, and also general guidance for witches, mediums, psychics, empaths, the link to my website is below. I will talk to you guys later. Love and light.